Hi, it's Anathea, your evolutionary astrologer, and I wanted to share something really powerful and profound with you in this video. I want to talk about what I'm finding not many astrologers are talking about because it's really astronomy, and I'm definitely not an astronomer, but I feel this has very big emotional and spiritual implications, and that's why I've been called to really share it with you. Have you heard about Three Eye Atlas? This is the third interstellar object to come into the solar system. Now, again, I am not a scientist. I am not a specialist. I am not in this area and an astronomer. But I'm just thinking of the astrological, and since I am an evolutionary astrologer, the evolutionary implications for humanity that may impact us with its presence and its visitation. So when it first, okay, so I guess I'm just going to give you a little summary of it, and I'm going to give you links below. This is something that not a lot of people are talking about. Astronomers are looking at it. NASA has looked at it or is looking at it and observing it. And then, of course, you have the videos where, doomsday and the world's coming to an end and all that. But with the trajectory of it, it is not hitting the Earth. It is, and so I'm going to explain a few things with it. But where do I begin? This is an interstellar object, and it's called Three Eye Atlas, and it's called Third Interstellar Dash Atlas. And the reason why it's called that is because it's the third interstellar ever recorded by us. The first one was Oumuamua in 2017, and then there was another one in 2019, Bosnilov, I think it was the name. And then, so this is the third one here in 2025. Now, this one is faster, bigger, and they still haven't been able to fully measure the size of it. And what's unique about it, so there's a lot of anomalies about this, and it initially could not be categorized as an asteroid. It could not be categorized as a comet. Now it has finally, as it's getting closer to the sun and approaching the inner orbit of Mars, that it is starting to produce a tail, which would be a characteristic of a comet, apparently, right? And so it's just, I find it fascinating because this is a golden opportunity for us to tune into through our consciousness, through our awareness, and being aware of this visitor from outside our solar system. Interstellar means outside of our solar system. That's really bringing in a wave of higher consciousness, a wave of evolutionary potential. And we already astrologically with the transpersonal, the outer planets, the transpersonal planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they are already pushing on us to evolve, okay? And I don't know if you're feeling that, but it's really beautiful. It's like this birthing process that we're going through, and all of a sudden then Three Eye Atlas shows up. And it really, NASA, or actually it was the Atlas. So Atlas stands for, I have to look up the name here so I can get this. And this is supported by or funded by NASA. Atlas is like an observatory network, I guess. And it stands for Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System. And I guess it was found in Chile, and then I guess then they looked at it in other places. I'll give you some specific dates so we can tune in and pay attention to what's really happening here. I'm going to give you some links also so that you can see. There's Stefan Burns, and he actually shows where the orbit, where Three Eye Atlas is going to be going through, but I'll be talking about that as well. What else do I want to say before I start with the specific dates? So this is an anomaly. We are observing it. It just first came to humanity's awareness, and not all of humanity, like the scientists and not NASA and astronomers, July 1st. So this is like brand new, recent, just happening. And it's going to be going in through our solar system and then out again. And it's going to be gone out through Jupiter by March the 16th. And so I started really investigating and looking and seeing about, wow, what is this all about? It just fascinated me because we discovered it, or they discovered it July 1st, but they did a trajectory of where it was coming from. And apparently it's coming from Sagittarius. My moon's in Sagittarius. My Jupiter's in Sagittarius. My Jupiter's right outside the galactic center. And they said this is coming from the galactic center. Now that really got my attention. And I think that's why I'm so jazzed about this, because it's speaking my language. There's something that's pulling on me with this 3i Atlas. Now, it can basically come in and leave, and most people won't know about it. I hope that's not the case, because if I can be a messenger of letting more and more people become aware of it, we can start tuning into this cosmic force, this visitor that we're actually having coming into the solar system. And I feel, there's all kinds of stories of what this is, an alien ship and aliens coming. What I'm afraid of is that as it gets closer, that they're going to sensationalize it and make it, oh, the aliens are coming to attack us. But my thought is that if it can come in from outer space, outside of our solar system, it's bringing in higher consciousness awareness. It's bringing in energy that we can learn from, and we will learn from it. As a matter of fact, the one in 2017, there's a scientist that's actually talking about this. I think he's connected with Harvard, Avi Loeb, Avaloeb. You can look him up. And he's talking about this. But I lost my train of thought where I was going with that. I got sidetracked with Avi Loeb. You can look him up and see. But it's just been very different than typical asteroids or comets. And so it's drawn attention to what exactly is it. And they haven't been able to measure how big it is. Now, Stefan Burns, who is a geophysicist, he says that, it has a nucleus, and then it has like this coma. And this coma is made out of dust or plasma, and it's getting bigger and bigger as it's getting closer to the sun. As it's approaching closer to the sun is reacting, and it's letting off solar flares. And all of this is basically, I don't know the right words for it, photonic, electromagnetic fields that our physical body is having to digest and process. And so it's like this higher frequency energy is moving through our biological being, and we're having to do something about it. So I feel that maybe, I don't know if you've had days where I've had the day before the eclipse, I was out. I couldn't do anything. It was a day I had all to myself. I didn't have any appointments. And I just laid down and, actually what I did was I laid down all day and I listened more about 3i Atlas. I listened to an astronomer, Dr. Dani, and that was very interesting, but she does different astrology than me. She does Vedic astrology, but I'm going to be talking about her as well. And I loved her perspective on this. So, yes, it's astronomy. Yes, it's scientific, but what are the astrological and evolutionary and spiritual and emotional implications that this has for us? And that's what I want to support us tuning into. So we don't have to be scientists. We just have to be aware of the cosmos and how that affects us. So I was knocked out the day before the eclipse. And by the way, the eclipse, where was that in your chart? We still have another one coming up on the 21st. This was the full moon eclipse. Then we're going to have the full moon eclipse, and then we're going to have the new moon eclipse on the 21st. So the 7th and the 21st. So we're in eclipse season. These are powerful times, and it's a fated time. And to have this plus 3i Atlas visiting us, these are profound times, and our life is sacred. And if we can tune into the sacredness of it, the humble human experience of it, and be able to reach a greater understanding, not intellectually, but spiritually, that I believe that's what we're here for. So that's what I'm promoting. Let me go through some dates here. So it was discovered July 1st by Atlas. This is the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Blast Alert System, an observatory, but I think it's an observatory network, but this one was in Chile, and then other ones looked at it. July 21st, the Hubble telescope observed it, and then August the 6th, James Webb telescope observed it. I'll also put a link on about Janasa's site and some other links that you can look at to follow up with this video as well. I just find it fascinating. So ride the train because this is a visitor. It's coming in and it's going out. So it's coming in now. It's here visiting and it's going to leave by March, 2026, March 16th. It'll be gone. C'est la vie, but it will have its impact. And we don't really know what kind of impact. It's not going to be I don't believe it's not going to crash into Earth. It's not going to crash into the sun unless it changes its course. It is just going to come in, have its effect, and leave. And the way I see it is imagine a lake. And the lake has activity, but now, it has fish in it, it has things coming in and out. But now we have this big, huge, fast boat just barreling through the lake, and it's leaving a wake of higher consciousness. And that's how I see this, that we can tune into this energy, tune into our bodies, and allow ourselves to tune in and tap into and nurture our health. And the eclipse is about our health too, because it's the Virgo Pisces axis, and Virgo is all about health, and Pisces is about rest and relaxation and sleep, amongst other things, right? But to really tune into this higher frequency energy and allow it to be absorbed into our own personal electromagnetic field so that we can raise our consciousness to a higher level. Okay, so August the 6th, James Webb observed it. September the 21st through the 23rd, it's going to enter the constellation of Virgo. Now, this information that I just got here is from Dr. Dani, and she does different kind of astrology than I do. She does 13 sign astrology, but I found it fascinating because I was very interested in learning more about the astrological, evolutionary, spiritual implications of this 3i Atlas object, and I couldn't find any astrologers talking about it. And so, of course, ChatGPT helped me find one, Dr. Dani, but she's a different type of astrology, so I'm not fully, educated in her type of astrology. But I will say that the astrology that I know, it's like, I guess apparently we can call it the hero's journey. So it goes from Aries all the way through to Pisces, right? And so it's birth, maturation, experience, and death. And this is like an evolutionary cycle. So it can be a circle like this, but it can be a circle like this. And it's an evolutionary process. And that's what we're going through. And all of the planets in the solar system, except for Venus, go counterclockwise, right? And so what's unique, another unique thing about 3i Atlas is it's coming in on our ecliptic plane. So think of the sun in the middle, and all of the planets are orbiting the sun. They're not orbiting kittywampus like here or here, but they're all orbiting kind of in the same, more or less the same plane, a little bit up and down. And 3i Atlas is coming in to our ecliptic, our orbital plane. Wild, right? Oumuamua came in kind of like this, I guess, and just went by the sun and zoomed out. It did another weird thing because it picked up speed apparently as it left. Well, 3i Atlas is coming into literally to our ecliptic plane. Now that's powerful because that's astrology. That's where all of our planets are and how our planets affect us, okay? And so it's coming in and it's going clockwise, the opposite direction. So, and I always, for many years, have thought, just think, think the opposite rule. Whatever society says, think opposite, and then you've got it right. Okay. I'm going to give a poor example, but it is the example that I'm thinking of right now. You're supposed to get married in a white dress. I got married in a red dress, so just do whatever society says, just do the opposite. And I feel you're going the right direction. Now you may be triggered by that, and I hope not, but take it with a grain of salt. But what we are programmed, the fairy tale of living happily ever after, the 2.5 kids and the white picket fence and other things, that we get programmed with. This three-eye atlas, because it's going it's going clockwise, and the planets go counterclockwise. It's stirring things up on an energetic level. So it's in effect, potentially, these are all my theories, is that it's coming in to give us a broader perspective on life. And that's why I'm so excited about it. Whether there's aliens in it, whether it's a ship, who knows? It's just coming to let us know there's more than just us earthlings in this universe, and that we can humble ourselves, that there are consciousnesses and energies that know more than we do. And we can learn from them. So many of us have such narrow visions. And, I don't know all about this, but I feel so called to be able to share it, because I want you to jump on the train, get the information, start talking to people, informing yourself, so that you can pay attention to this beautiful opportunity, this short period of time as Three-Eye Atlas visits us. So that's my main reason why I'm talking about this. I have still so much more to share here. I want to make sure I hit all the points. I want to give you the dates. This is really important. But so it's coming in, the opposite of the planets, most of the planets, right? Stirring things up, but it's coming in on our ecliptic. It's not hurting, it's not threatening and or hitting any of our planets. Now, Stefan Burns said it's going through the asteroid belt right now, through Libra. It'll enter Virgo. I said it enters Virgo September 21st through the 23rd. And there's always this fear mongering. I am not going to fear monger. Let's open and receive this consciousness without fear. Fear is just false evidence appearing real. Step into the expansion experience of this opportunity. Now, Stefan Burns is awesome too, so don't get me wrong on that. So it's coming in August 3rd, 6th, James Webb Telescope learned about it. September 21st through the 23rd, it enters Virgo constellation. Dr. Dani is the one that was talking about, we have the hero's journey, which is Aries through Pisces, but she was talking about the cosmic, what did she call it? The cosmic healer's journey. And that really ignited me, because it's going the other direction. And so this three-eye atlas is going from Sagittarius, the galactic center, and it's going opposite through Scorpio. No, let's see, which way did it go? Yeah, it goes through, it came in through Sagittarius, but then she had this whole explanation of the cosmic healer's journey, and it's going opposite, it's going clockwise and the opposite. And so basically we enter in through Sagittarius, the galactic center, and as it exits, it's going to be through Gemini as it exits through Jupiter. Where is that in your chart? And what I look at is, where is that? Is it in the top part of your chart, the bottom of your chart, the eastern or the western hemisphere? And what does that mean? So that tells a story in and of itself. For me, it's where it's located is kind of in my first house, and then goes over the top of the chart, which is more of a collective, like I'm here to share it with the collective, and it expands me and the collective. So that's how I see it for me personally. And if you're interested, I can help you see how it's working on your chart for you. If it's more in the first, second, and third, or third for second and first, because it's going counterclockwise, it's more for your deeper personal experience. Okay, now these are the important parts. I want to give you a kind of a visual on this. Here's the sun. Here's the sun. Here's the earth. It's over here. And this is the ecliptic, so to speak, where all the planets are moving around the sun. And this is coming in through the galactic center. At least that's what they've made a trajectory of, from seeing where it came in, because it was already past that when they discovered it July 1st. Okay, so then it's coming in. And it's going to go, and this is October the 3rd. October is going to be a huge month. It's coming in October the 3rd. It's going to go on the inside of the orbit, and it's going to be that's the planet it's going to be the closest to is Mars. Okay. So it's coming in closest to Mars, going to pass Mars, but on October the 3rd, it will be the closest to Mars right then. And then it's going to continue. So there's Mars, here's the sun. It's going to continue, and it's going to be conjunct or perihelion closest to the sun on October the 20th and the 23rd. And so here is 3i Atlas, here's the sun, and the Earth is over on the other side, somewhere like over here. And so it's during this time that from Earth, we won't be able to see it via telescopes, okay? And then it's going to start exiting out, coming back out beyond the sun, or the Earth, yeah, the sun. And then it's going to be closest to Venus. And that's on November the 3rd. And then December the 3rd through the 7th, it enters the constellation of Leo. And there's a whole thing about the cosmic healer's journey of Virgo when it was in Virgo during September. This is the gestation of our consciousness. And then when it enters into Leo, Leo is about children. So this is the birth of our consciousness. And then as it goes through Cancer, it emotionally imprints us. And then as it goes into Gemini, we begin to understand it. So that's the path that it's going to be taking. Now, Dr. Dani explains that way better than I ever could. But let's go back to it's going to be closest to Venus. Then December the 3rd, it's going to enter into the constellation of Leo. This is the birth, cosmic healer's journey of our birth. Maybe hopefully there will be a level of awakening for us. December the 19th, that's when it's going to be closest to the Earth. That's going to be another activation point, and that could potentially be a really powerful activation point for humanity. Now, again, I don't know the science, but I know that it's not going to come in and leave without making an energetic wake of consciousness through the solar system. And so when it's the closest to the Earth on December the 19th, that is it could potentially be an activation point for humanity. And then January the 9th through the 11th, 2026, then we're in the new year. That's when it enters into the constellation of Cancer. Cancer is about, it's a water sign. It's about emotions. It's the little girl, little boy inside of us. So that's the emotional imprinting of this higher consciousness. January 28th through the 31st is when it enters the constellation of Gemini. And Gemini is all about understanding. And it can be naming and categorizing. You see, this object, we became aware of it in July, and as it was approaching, and we're going to be able to watch it through the telescopes or whatever they have on Mars and Jupiter. I guess there's this Juno that's going to be able to observe it also when it exits. So by the time it comes and it goes, we're going to have a lot of more information about it. And Oumuamua in 2017, we didn't realize it was actually there until it was starting to leave. So we had limited time to really learn about it. So I do believe this, even though not that many people know about it, I believe as we go into October, November, December, January, we're going to hear more about it, okay? January 28th through the 23rd enters Gemini, greater understanding. We'll be naming and categorizing it. And then March 16th is when it will be saying, c'est la vie. And it's going to be the closest to Jupiter and on its way out, okay? And Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. And this is the wisdom holder, right? And it's, so the way I see it is it's coming in, it's going to touch Mars, it's going to be close to the sun, close to Venus, and then close to Earth, and then exit out through Jupiter. And so it's really, because our dimension is the masculine, the feminine, Mars and Venus, Mars represents the masculine, Venus represents the feminine. This is a wake of higher consciousness that's wanting to give a message to us about blending this, we have this black and white thinking, we have this Democrat, Republican, we have this right, this wrong. And, we have a masculine, feminine, we have up, down, we have this dualistic dimension. And I believe that it's just fascinating to me that it's going by Mars and going by Venus and then ending out, leaving through Jupiter. And Jupiter is the wisdom holder. Jupiter is the good luck charm. Jupiter gives us meaning and truth. And Jupiter represents the search for truth and meaning. And Jupiter is the teacher. I mean, Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is the wisdom holder and the teacher. So overall, I feel like this is an opportunity, and I don't want you to miss it, to have it just come through and start following it, pay attention to it, tune into it, feel the energies. If you feel exhausted, then sit, relax, breathe into your body, let your body open, let your DNA activate, let your mind expand. Don't be afraid. Know that this is something potentially, and we will find out as we move into the future. I think things as things unfold, that this is a gift that we get to be given and tuning into. So I'm going to have some really good links for you. Please check them out. More information on this. I'll have a link, NASA link, Dr. Dani, Stefan Burns, so that you can study more about this. I'd love for you to make comments and see what you think, what you know. And let's continue to enjoy the ride of evolution and awakening and tuning into a higher consciousness so that we can make life more magical, mystical, and meaningful. All right, I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you've enjoyed my message. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and have a beautiful day.